Hi, I'm Kerry, and you might have noticed my surroundings are a little different. I'm on Jekyll Island. We're on a 10-day road trip moving between Panama City, Savannah, and Atlanta, and then back to Birmingham to attend our grandchildren's graduations. But I wanted to continue to put out videos and explain where I'm at. And I'm moving into a realm, if you've watched my weekly videos, here lately, that I'm adding to my positions. I'm building my portfolio based upon what I think is going to happen in the future. I think I own the right stocks for the most part, but I want to build my positions. I've been presented some opportunities as there's been a pullback since February to buy back in. And I did a video, I believe it was on May the 22nd, about Palantir. And I just want to reinforce this because I read an interesting article on Seeking Alpha, and the title of the author is The Asian Investor. And like my thumbnail, his title is Buy Palantir Before It Breaks Out. And I think it is going to break out. And he brings up some points that I think are very pertinent that I want to discuss with you, that gives you some insight as to why I and he thinks Palantir is going to duplicate the rise in popularity, the rise in stock strength that social media has over the last 10 years, and how Palantir is one of the big data companies that is coming forward that will emulate the growth of the FANG stocks, that being Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google, the FANG stocks. Well, his premise is, and it really drives home to me, that this same thing is going to happen in big data. And so follow the big data and you'll invest in the right place. So I want to dig deeper into that and share some of his insights and some of my insights into why I'm doubling down on Palantir and why I think it's at a good price right now. So stick with me, and we'll enjoy the sun rays here at the beach. Right over there is the Atlantic Ocean. It's interesting, we came from Panama City where we were on the Gulf and the blue clear waters, and here they're a little bit green and murky looking, but still a beautiful beach. And what a wonderful, I spent this morning on an 8-mile bike ride that encircles the whole island, and just reinvigorated me. Okay, all right, so stick with me. I want to get deep into this.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
So why will Palantir and why will other stocks emulate the growth of the FANG stocks? Well, I think it's because big data has become more and more important as a result of the events that have happened in our life in the last year or year and a half. And the first of that being, of course, the corona crisis, one of those events which I put a label on of this can never happen again. And it's going to affect our healthcare system. It's going to affect our supply chain, and those are all going to be corrected. The ability to make them never happen again is going to be facilitated by big data. Well, we know that Apple and Google and Amazon and Microsoft own most of our social big data, but one of the largest collectors of big data is governments. Governments have enormous data, and for the most part, they've been reluctant to spend any money to massage and to put that data to good use for them. They've just basically assumed an attitude of it's there, it's okay, we're not going to spy on our people. But as a result of another event, and that was the Colonial Pipeline shutdown, we've realized we're very vulnerable to cyber security hacks. And thus, we could have our whole electric system shut down. Hell, we could have our whole internet system shut down if someone got into it. So the government is recognizing a responsibility to take care of the data that they hold and organize it and put it to good use to make our lives better and safer in the future. So You then need to look at who are the companies that are assisting the governments. And I put an S on the end of that word because it is a problem everywhere. If it's a problem here in the United States, it's a problem in China. It's a problem in Russia. It's a problem in England, in France, in Germany. So they're all facing the same problem. And if we look, we see that Palantir's revenues in business are made up 56% from the government. And that grew in the first quarter by 76%. Let me run that by you again. Their business is 56% working with governments in data. Okay, we put a number on that. Now multiply it times 1.76. That's the rate that grew in the first quarter of this year. Well, why was that? Well, again, it's because of the virus. This can never happen again. It's because of the colonial pipeline. This can never happen again. And Joe Biden apparently almost doubled down on the government's expenditures for big data management and upped Palantir's revenues in the fourth quarter by 76%. Overall, Palantir's revenues are up, but still, if you look at this chart here that Jack's going to put up for us, their losses amount to $1.20 a share. Oh, I don't want to own any companies that aren't making profits. Well, I would ask you to dig a little deeper into the FANG stocks, the Facebooks, the Apples, the Amazon, the Netflix, and the Googles, and you're going to find in their early stages, they didn't make any money either. In fact, they spent money and reinvested any earnings that they did make to make their services better, and then turned into the behemoths that they are. Well, I think if you dig into it, you're going to see you have an opportunity, a similar opportunity as the social media giants grew, as now we're going to see the big data giants grow. Well, why hasn't this happened before? Because this can never happen again. Events hadn't happened until just recently. We are really just emerging into an understanding of the vulnerability as well as the wonderful part of the internet. We're learning about the bad part of the internet. The bad guys are catching up with the good guys, and the good guys got to get on the ball to make sure that this never happens again. And Palantir is our leader in that commodity. The author of this article, The Asian Investor, feels that you're going to see a quadrupling in the business venture of Palantir between now and 2025. Is it then reasonable to think you'll see a quadrupling of the price of the stock? Well, certainly if they become profitable, and there is no reason they wouldn't become profitable. Yeah, they're currently continuing to dilute their stock by issuing more shares to raise more money, just like Amazon, Google, and Apple did, so that they could become better at what they do and thus become the leaders in their field. That is what Palantir is doing. Again, just look over your shoulder. Don't keep looking forward. Look over your shoulder and ask yourself, how did Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft get to where they are? They basically found a niche that they filled. Then they spent the money and reinvested any profits to basically own that space. Once they owned the space, then they could start returning, in the case of Apple and Microsoft, dividends to their shareholders. Google hasn't chosen to do that, nor has Amazon. So I guess what I'm asking you to do is don't look at what the stock market is doing today. Just look at what the price is on Palantir is today and buy it. And if you already have it, add to it. It's my opinion, and that's all it is, that this is another Google, this is another Amazon, Apple, what's the other, Netflix. This is a company that owns its space, that it has the ability to increase its revenues at a rate of, what is it? Revenues grow from the government by 76% in the first quarter of this year. This isn't, to me, and again, I'm just a 76-year-old retired financial advisor who has seen and studied this for a number of years. This is a no-brainer. And if you don't own it, own it. If you do own it, own more of it. And don't worry about it. It's going to be volatile. Trust me, it's going to be volatile because it doesn't make money yet. Just go back and look at a chart of Google, Amazon, Apple. In their early years, they were volatile. But then go out to the long-term look, and you'll see where they ended up, and they aren't done yet. Because again, and this is something to think about, they're also the owners of the data. And data, it has been king, will become king, and will rule the world in the future. So that's my take on Palantir. That's my take on investing in the future. That's my goal. If you want to learn more about us, go to investors.com and then sign up for our Discord. You can just leave me your name and your email address. And I won't be talking about short-term jump in and jump out. If you're a day trader or you're a swing trader, I'm not your place, okay? Your place should be here with me on Jekyll Island. Beautiful day. What a ride. It was an 8-mile ride around this island, and there's a historical part of it. At one point in our history during World War II, all the industrial magnates, the Carnegies and the Mellons and the big names had homes down here on Jekyll Island. And there was determined that there were submarines out there, German submarines in the Atlantic Ocean. And the government came down here, government officials, and evacuated all these industrial magnates, industrial geniuses, big names, and told them to leave the island. Go home. Go back to Pennsylvania and New York and wherever your home is. There's just too much vulnerability for you all to be here at one time. It's kind of interesting, as I said that, we got the same vulnerability now through cybersecurity as what happened here on Jekyll Island, and I would guess that was probably in the late 30s or early 40s during World War II. So enjoying ourselves. Again, my apologies for the audio in yesterday's video. I might take you out to the beach tomorrow and we'll talk about something. I'm sure there's something that'll come up that we need to talk about. Okay, Best of Us Investors, Discord, like button, subscribe, all that stuff. You know the routine. Talk to you tomorrow.